don't forget to like and subscribe.
Hello there. I have actually been making good time. Well, not really. On my book. Maybe it's like a chapter a week. That's good time for me. That's the book I wrote. I am struggling to read. That's the story of my life, I guess. Yeah. So I'm on chapter 7 now. Honor of War. What happened? Yeah, the boys just found out about war. The fact that it was coming, the humans were starting to get called into the war. Yeah. It's annoying fidgeting with this thing. Yeah, the humans are being called into the war. Being invited. Being asked politely if they would join. Politely. Yeah, so chapter 2 is the honor of... Dang, I took my pills, but allergies just still get me. The honor... Or, no. Not the honor of war, just honor of war. The day after the boys repeated the elves' mandate to the people of their town, an envoy from Anchor Hill arrived and collaborated their claims, arranging with the town leader, Peter's father, to keep in close contact with leadership from other villages. A rider would go to and from the village relaying messages. But after a week, with no follow-up from the elves, the people began to doubt that the women speaking with the elf had accurately understood her message. None of the villagers had first-hand knowledge of the conversation and didn't know if they actually spoke or understood the language. Ash was surprised by the turn of events, but enjoyed the fact that communication between the settlements was becoming more commonplace. Each week, the messenger would come back, speaking of the other settlements, which was getting in contact with other settlements, and so on. It seems like I'm repeating too much of the same thing over there, right there. Each village began to draw up maps of the location from where each settlement was, and with details about the population. As the weeks passed, the map grew more and more. We are everywhere, Ash thought to himself, when he noticed how large the map had grown, with human villages popping up everywhere, as a new location was being added to the large, ever-growing map. Coming from the outskirts of this small village, he had previously believed Anchor Hill to be one of the largest human settlements. Yet, in reality, it was actually one of the smaller towns. Apparently, the largest settlement was a city called Standing, which was to the west of Anchor Hill. Ash had a hard time fathoming the largeness of the city as it was drawn on the map, but the messengers told the tale that it was drawn to a smaller scale on the map than it really was. It was already about 5 times the size of Anchor Hill on the map. It was said Standing was the first settlement established when the humans were chased out of the far western plains. The season passed in the same manner, with messengers coming and going, and word of unknown settlements becoming common knowledge. After a time, word came all the way from Standing with some rules. The leader of Standing had declared himself declared himself ruler of all the human settlements and started demanding a tax as well as a count of villagers. A count of the villages, the buildings, its people, and details of their livelihoods, their main production and crops. It was confusing at first, but along with the taxation came a steady stream of people from other towns with goods and products such as they had never seen before. I think I got that a little sounds off. By the third season, their village had grown and become far more productive. Even a town bell was brought in to relay emergencies. Almost a cycle to the day from when Ash and his friends first ventured off to Anchor Hill to see the elf. Ash found himself sitting outside again with his friends. "I want to go see Standing," Peter said, getting Ash's attention. "I want to actually do something with my life, instead of sitting in a chair, ordering people around like my father," Peter continued, yet with yearning in his voice. It was night, and only one moon was in the sky, but with no clouds, the stars shone brightly. "Your father plays an important role in the town," Ash replied sarcastically. Peter just looked at him sternly. Garrett and Hollis both let out a chuckle. Peter looked at both of them and gave them a smile. Yes, and he clearly took advantage of it. In the past cycle, Peter had lost weight. He had grown taller and stronger. He promised himself that he would never fall behind his friends again, and he kept that promise. Ash was mindlessly casting on a few pebbles, absently whirling them around in his hand, and passing them back and forth, swapping hands. Over the past cycle, he had learned more about magic from his father, and had decided to stay vigilant and devote all the time he could towards knowing and understanding it in order to gain more control. Ash and his gang of miscreants, as they had been dubbed due to the havoc they had caused in their younger cycles, were now around 15. And as it turned out, Hollis had an aptitude for magic as well. Ash and Hollis would play a game to see who could sustain a barrier for the longest. Ash always won, of course, but it was great practice for the both of them. The boys eventually all got up and began through the woods around their village. While talking about their plans for the future. Ash rose his hand in a halting gesture, cocking his head to the side. "What is it?" Garrett whispered, but he was met with Ash putting one finger to his lips with his opposite hand. A few moments passed, and then the other boys heard it too. Hooves pounding down the main road at a fast pace, headed toward the village. Ash turned back to the rest. "We've got to hurry to the town," he said, as he broke off in a run. You know what? I'm going to end it right there, because I think 10 minutes is like the max people are willing to sit through me reading. Yeah, because I'm not the best. And it was the end of the page, so that made sense. Yeah, a few things I would like to change there. You know what? Thank you all for listening to me read. I like it, but I'm biased. I wrote it. Thank you all for watching. Toodles.